So last night I decided that I wanted to try pin curls. And I had this kind of idea that I was gonna have like a very Victorian retro look, and I woke up looking like Little Orphan Annie, and I'm not sure what to really do about it. Like, you can kind of see what I was trying to do, but we didn't quite get there. So if I'm constantly with my hair, please ignore it. Please ignore it. We're just waiting to see how and if it ever deflates from this floofy, frizzy mess. I've bought a bunch of books recently, and I thought that I would share them with you because I've been kind of doing it over a few weeks, and I'm impatient and I don't really like opening and unboxing videos. I just want to talk about them and show them to you. So I thought I would film this video. I don't usually buy books. In fact, when I did this painting of this shelf, I even said that I'm not buying books this year because my shelf cannot hold more books. That was a blatant lie. I have like 14 or 15 books to talk to you about, and there's a pretty good mix. I would say most of them are fantasy. I have some nonfiction, a few classics and special editions, and then short story collections. Usually I only buy books if they are something that I'm going to refer back to, so that's why nonfiction. If it's a classic, because I tend to reread those, and books that I've already read and that I know I'm gonna read again. We have kind of a mix. I also have a few used books that I got here that I haven't read ever before, and I'm really looking forward to. I'm gonna start by talking about one of the used books that I got. That is White as Snow by Tana Lee. And this I got on eBay because I'm pretty sure that it is now out of print. And I actually came to hearing about this book through an interview with Holly Black. She mentioned being very inspired and influenced by Tanith Lee, growing up reading Tanith Lee, and that Tanith writes sort of horror, romance, fantasy, and often a blend of them, with a lot of heavy influence from fairy tale. And I've just really wanted to read White as Snow. It's part of the fairy tale series, and the title is White as Snow, Red as Blood, a dark, sensual retelling of Snow White. And the back says that writer reviewers have called her the Angela Carter of the fantasy field, which I love Angela Carter, so I just feel like this is gonna be for me. Arpesia is the aging queen who paces the halls of the warlord's palace. Cold is winter. She has only one passion, for the mysterious hunter who courts the outlawed old gods of the woodland. Cora, I'm gonna call her Cora, is the princess raised in the shadow of her mother's hatred. Avoided by both her parents and half forgotten by her father's court, she grows into womanhood alone until the mirror speaks and blood is spilled and the forest cleans her. The tragic myth of the goddess Demeter and her daughter Persephone, stolen by the king of the underworld, is woven together with the tale of Snow White to create a powerful story of mothers and daughters and the blood that binds them together for good or for ill. It just sounds so good, right? I'm so down. And something that's really funny is I thought that I bought this from a US bookstore on eBay, as I said, but it says it's from the Okanagan Regional Library. Yeah, Okanagan Regional Library, because it's from a library sale. That's hilarious because that's actually very close to where I grew up. What a coincidence. That is White as Snow. The next books I'm going to talk about, I'm having a little bit of regret. Not because I am not absolutely thrilled and excited to read them, but I bought the author's preferred text of the Bone Season. What's happened is the Bone Season, the original Bone Season, this is I don't know if I've shown you this one before. I have the sprayed edges from Forbidden Planet. This was published by Samantha Shannon like over a decade ago. She was 19 when she wrote it. So the 10th anniversary edition, she did like a really intensive rewrite or like edit. I fell in love with the series as it was written originally. There was a little bit of info dumping in the beginning, but it's still become one of my all-time favorite series. It's sort of this dystopian epic that takes place across many different cities in Europe. So the first one is like dark Oxford, like creepy Oxford, forgotten Oxford. So you can kind of see the front cover, I need to hide my face, has images of buildings. But then the second one is in, I think it's Edinburgh, right? Oh, it doesn't say. I'm pretty sure it's Edinburgh for The Song Rising, the second book, okay? Oh, that's the third book, sorry. This is the second book, which is London. Definitely London. All right, I'm obsessed with these covers. No, because I really hate the white covers that were coming out. I thought they were super ugly. And then The Mask Falling is set in Paris and the Paris catacombs. So good. The next one is going to be in Italy. It comes out in 2025. There's going to be 7 books. This is book 4. Book 5 is called The Dark Mirror. But my kind of regret or frustration with what I have done here is that, as you may have noticed, I bought different sizes of my books. So they're gonna sit on the shelf like this. And that kind of pisses me off a bit because I fell in love with this one. I love the poppies, but I prefer to read from paperback, and I'm gonna do a full reread now that she's gone through and sort of edited her whole series and brought it up to sort of the quality level of her later books. And so, yeah, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do about that because part of my brain is like, just buy the first book in a paperback and then you have a special edition that's like big and pretty and then you can read it in paperback. But I also got the audiobook because I heard she has a narrator that's going to do all of the like Irish dialects because the main character is Irish. I don't know, guys. I don't know what to do or how to fix my little problem here, but I'm definitely not returning them. But maybe I should tell you really quickly what this book is about. So the inside of book 1 says, "Welcome to Sion, no safer place." The year is 2059. For 2 centuries, the Republic of Sion has led an oppressive campaign against unnaturalness in Europe. In London, Paige Mahoney holds a high rank in the criminal underworld. The right hand of the ruthless White Binder, Paige is a dreamwalker, a rare and formidable kind of clairvoyant. Under Sion law, she commits treason simply by breathing. When Paige is arrested for murder and thrown into captivity in Oxford, she meets the mysterious founders of Sion, who have designs on her uncommon abilities. If she is to survive and escape, Paige must use every skill at her disposal and put her trust in someone who ought to be her enemy. Yeah, I could gush the whole video about this series. I really love it. If you haven't read it and you want to read it with me, drop a comment in the comments. Let me know, because I would love to do a buddy read with somebody of this series. The Bone Season, I bought the first 3 books now that they have been released. After that, I also got another book on eBay, Angela Carter, The Magic Toy Shop. I have been going through a bit of an Angela Carter obsession lately. My other books of hers are all the vintage Carter, and I kind of wanted to keep them matching, but I couldn't find this one as that edition for whatever reason, anywhere, online, anywhere. Yeah, it's like 200 pages, okay? It says, "One night, Melanie walks through the garden in her mother's wedding dress. The next morning, her world is shattered. Forced to leave her childhood home, she is sent to London to live with relatives that she has never met. Gentle Aunt Margaret, mute since her wedding day, and her brothers, Francie and Finn. Brooding over all is Uncle Philip," it's probably creepy, "who loves only the puppets," there you go, "in his workshop, which are life-sized and uncannily life-like." So she just creates these very chaotic, very eccentric characters. I love how they are often like loud and brash and playful. There is such a playfulness to the way that she uses words on the page. And I really love Angela Carter's writing. I feel like actually if you enjoyed a series of unfortunate events and you want kind of an adult version of that eccentricity and the magic, you should probably check out Angela Carter. And I mean, we'll see what I think of this one. I'm gonna read it probably in this next month or so. The other book that I have to talk about is Possession by A.S. Byatt. This was published in the 90s, and I was pretty determined to read it on my Kindle, but then I saw there was this version that has a hawk moth on it. Well, hawk moths, but I have a tattoo of the Death's Head hawk moth on my arm, which you can't see right now, but I thought, you know, it's meant to be, and it will match my Angela Carter collection. So I was just very intrigued by this. I saw Ava Reid talking about it a little bit. I have a feeling that it somewhat inspired A Study in Drowning, which I loved. And this one says that Possession is an exhilarating work of wit and romance at once, a literary detective novel and a triumphant love story. It is the tale of a pair of young scholars investigating the lives of 2 Victorian poets. Following a trail of letters, journals, and poems, they uncover a web of passion, deceit, tragedy, and their quest becomes a battle against time. And then it has a quote from Elizabeth Kostova, who I believe wrote The Historian, which I also really liked. Not totally sure what I'm getting into with this one, but it was recommended by authors that I really enjoy. So that is Possession. If you've read this, I would be really curious to hear what your thoughts were, if you enjoyed it, if you have any tips for me in reading it. It feels like it might be a little dense. Like I opened it and started to read. The prose is like lush and beautiful, but it's kind of struck me as Gormit and Gast did, where it's also a little bit dense and it might take me a little bit longer to read. So that's Possession. Should we do, okay, let's do my special editions. They were on sale. And my husband and I were walking by the sale rack and they were like 50% off. And I already have a collection of Chiltern editions. I got, what do I have? I've got Persuasion, Mansfield Park, oh yeah, and Pride and Prejudice. And I just love these special editions. They're really heavy. They have beautiful, beautiful paper. Honestly, they kind of feel like Bibles. Like the Bible of Keats. I don't know if you can really see, they have like the gold edges and it's just like a very shiny, nice, it's a nice paper. I bought it because I like paper. So I actually just finished reading Northanger Abbey. I love this kind of tile work on it. And I will be talking about this a fair bit during my wrap up next week. Then I saw that they have the Romantic Poets and it was like $10 and such a good price, right? I have Wordsworth, Coleridge, Blake, Byron, Shelley, and Keats. I know the last four, Wordsworth and Coleridge, I am not as familiar with. So I'm kind of looking forward to sort of slowly reading through this. I don't like to read poetry quickly, so I don't know if I'll ever talk about it in like a monthly wrap up kind of thing, because I'll probably just move through it like very slowly. But I like this cover. It reminds me of like hot air balloons. Let's do the short stories next. I will just flash this one. I feel like I talked about this actually in one of my wrap-ups in May, but I got Angela Carter's book of fairy tales. I really just liked the illustrations, and it's a collection of fairy tales mostly about women. To be clear, she was the editor, so it's a collection of fairy tales from around the world about women that she collected and put together in a book form for Virago. What I'm really excited and kind of kicked off my buying spree was actually this book. It's called Evil Roots, Killer Tales of the Botanical Gothic. I've been eyeing this for over a year now, and I just finally gave myself permission to buy it. I thought, you know, this will be kind of like research for a book that I would like to write one day. I just really wanted to read it, okay? But yeah, I haven't heard of a lot of these actually. So we have Rappaccini's Daughter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. We have some Conan Doyle, Lucy Hooper, Carnivorine. Huge selection. I don't know whether you can see that. So I bought that, and then Amazon was like, but you could also buy His Friend, and they look really good on the shelf together, and that is Promethean Horrors, Classic Tales of Mad Science. And I love science, and I love mad science, so yeah, I did it. And again, I don't know any of these. Oh wait, Rappaccini's Daughter is in this one as well. I've heard of The Body Snatcher. Look at that. So I'm excited for these. I'm excited about them. I'm excited for them. These are collections by the British Library. Tales of the Weird. There's like 14 different books that all have this kind of trope-based collection of stories, and I would love to collect them all, but there is a point where it becomes collecting and not reasonable anymore. Now I just want to chat a little bit about my nonfiction books. So I have 3 of them. One is actually, I guess you could say it's short stories as well, but it is the mammoth book of Celtic myths and legends. And I'm kind of feeling a little revival in my heart for Celtic mythology and legend and sort of very English, British, very classic type of stories, because it's been a long time since I've actually read anything like that. I've been thinking about Arthurian mythology and like stories a lot. And I would like to know a little bit more about Celtic stuff as well. So I got this bad boy. That's all I have to say about it. Stirring sagas from the ancient Celtic world. This is written by Beresford Ellis, who is apparently a authority on the Celts. And there has a really nice, okay, you know what my favorite thing in like a nonfiction or like historical kind of book is this section. Oh, I don't know, I might not be able to see. Is the section where it says recommended further reading. Because there's nothing I love more than like hitting the end and being like, I was really interested in this one thing. Then they just tell you where to go next for it. And there's an index. Celtic Myths and Legends. One book that I did sit down and read in a few sittings was Mystery Cults in the Ancient World. I read this one like immediately after buying it a few weeks ago. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit more about it in my wrap up. but it is pretty much a fairly introductory level discussion of what we know about the Greek mystery cults, drawing from mostly archaeological evidence. It talks specifically about the Eleusinian mysteries and Cabaroi, but it also discusses like the sanctuaries of the Greek world, the mother of the gods, Dionysus, sacred encounters, etc. But yeah, I will blab extensively about this one in my wrap-up video. Last book. I have started to read it, as in I think I've read chapter 1. No, I have read the introduction. I will read chapter 1 tonight. That is How to Hide an Empire, History of the Greater United States. So some background thoughts on why I bought this. If you're new here, I have been living in Southeast Asia until the beginning of this year, based in Singapore, and I am Canadian. So I didn't really grow up with a good understanding of American history. A lot of my understanding of American history was just where American and Canadian history intersected. Like the Underground Railroad, when we burned down the White House. I think that's it. So I have no idea what y'all have been doing down there. But living overseas and living in Southeast Asia in particular, I have started to kind of encounter a lot of different narratives and counter narratives to things that I grew up kind of hearing about. And so I was interested in having more of a broader understanding of America and America as empire. Pick this one up. It has really good reviews and I feel like I'm learning stuff already. Did you know that a 10 peso note in the Philippines, this one, was what they based the sort of contemporary American money on very early into it. But so far it's been just really easy to read, especially for like a history book. Like I don't feel like I'm in school reading this like really dense thing that I'm later gonna get quizzed on. And that's my last book that I have to talk to you about today. So thank you for watching this video. If you've read any of these books, let me know. I would be really curious because it's actually sort of unusual for me to buy so many books that I have not read yet. Also, I feel like my hair is looking a little bit better. Thank you for watching. I hope that you have a lovely day. Yeah, I'll see you next week with my June wrap-up video. Bye.